So today's title is Daniel's Dream, and we are here, right? We've already like passed the captivity. They're in exile, but before Jesus is born, that the real gap, the weird this gap, we are here. So we are continuing Daniel's story. So they're in exile under Babylon, right? So Babylon king Nebuchadnezzar, he loved Daniel. Actually, I didn't introduce this incident, but Nebuchadnezzar had a really, really, really weird dream other than this tree dream. So Daniel interpret all his dream. He was smarter than anyone else, wise and humble. So Nebuchadnezzar loved him, but now his actually son's name is Belshazzar. He was bad. He did very bad thing in the eyes of God. So he got conquered by this king of Medes. His name is Darius, King Darius. Now he got, the King Babylon, the Babylon now attacked by another Persian, like the Mede Persian king. So they're still Babylon, called Babylon, but God punished them. Anyway, so now this King Darius, he put Daniel and two other people as a ruler of just 112 cities, and he loved it. So Daniel was so smart and so wise. So he was able to rule all those things anyone else. So now he put all the authority on Daniel. Of course, people get jealous. So the other people got jealous and they made this, how can we get rid of this Daniel? And they couldn't find any harm other than he's worshiping God. He's worshiping his God, the Israel God. So they came up to King Darius and they was like, oh, King Darius, your majesty, why don't you put this sign or make this rule that for 30 days no one should pray or worship other than you, right? So it's a similar situation as Daniel's three friend, right? So it's the same thing happened. So they kind of banning worshiping God, the Israel God. So he didn't know Daniel was the one. So he signed it. He, even though Daniel knew this became law, he opened the window widely and he prayed towards the Jerusalem 3 times a day. And these people, of course, yes, we got it. And then they went up to king and said, oh, king, this Daniel you love, he broke the law. So you should put him in a lion's den, right? You know the story. So although he was sad, the King Darius so sad, but he was blessing him, even like, your king will save you. And he put him in the lion's den. What happened? Actually, before that, so all night this king couldn't sleep. It's like, oh Daniel, oh poor Daniel. You know, he was so sad. And in the morning, he was like, he didn't even probably eat food or anything. He just like woke up to Daniel and it was like, Daniel, are you there? And of course, he was fine. So he was praising God that he blocked the lion's mouth, right? So he was completely fine, like his three friends in a fiery, pit. So God, and he pulled him out and he praised Daniel. So that story you probably heard so many times. So that's not the main story of today. So we are going to this story. So have you ever heard the Son of Man, the phrase Son of Man before? Who heard? Who heard the Son of Man? Never? Okay. All right. So, all right. I hope. Oh,
lagging.
okay?
You're
lagging?
glitchy.
Okay, let me check
you froze there. You froze.
Still, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
can hear you
Yes.
fine now.
Okay. All right. Let's try again. Maybe I'll put it in a. Sorry about the. Yeah, that's technology. Let me put in a. Okay. window array. And, all right, and then, all right, can you see it? Oh, actually, I didn't share yet.
Still can't see it.
Of course not. That's like I didn't put it yet. You will see. 1 second. Okay, right. Let there be screen. Ta-da! Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's keep going. So, have you ever heard the son of man? The phrase "son of man."
Yeah.
Tarzan.
Tarzan. Tarzan. All right. So, who used this phrase? Anyone
Jesus.
remember? Jesus. Yeah, Jesus
And
called.
Tarzan.
We're not talking about Tarzan yet. I mean, we're talking about Bible. So Jesus called himself the Son of Man. But the Son of Man, the phrase is from actually Book of Daniel. He used the first, the Son of Man in chapter 7. So if you're curious, you can read Daniel chapter 7. But we're gonna go over. Anyway, so Daniel used this phrase for the first time. So one day he was sleeping. But then, dun, 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 this is like nightmare, monsters coming out, like showing in his dream. He was like, what's going on? So first, he's like this dark, stormy sea, like everywhere, like the waves everywhere is like very stormy. And the first monster looked like lion, but has a wing. He never saw this kind of animal. And second animal, he's like a bear, but has a three ribs in his between his teeth. So he was very scary and then violent looking. And third one, he's look like a leopard, but then has a four heads and a wings. It was like getting worse and worse and worse. And fourth one is I can't even name it. Daniel couldn't even name it. It just had 10 horns and it's scary, more scary than anyone, any creatures that he saw before. So he was having this vision slash dream. So he was so terrified. But then his vision is changed. Oh, actually, before that, this fourth animal is a scary, the beast. He violent. He was a violent than anyone else. He did it was all the death after he passed anywhere is at death and destruction. So he's the scary one. Anyway, so but then he saw this God. I mean, he called the Ancient of Days, which is God sitting on a throne. It looks like a courtroom in heaven, and God killed him. God punished him. So which was good, right? And then he see a man looking, a person looking like Son of Man. So he used this phrase Son of Man, which is he's a human because he said a Son of Man, right? So this Son of Man he saw, and this Son of Man all of a sudden was from going and it was up to heaven. And then he was sitting next to the right hand of God. So ta-da! The Son of Man came up to heaven and he was sitting next to God. Who is he?
Jesus.
Yes, Jesus. Yes, we know he is Jesus, but Daniel probably had no idea because he was born like 100 years ago before Jesus was born. But anyway, he saw this vision. So Son of Man was sitting right next to the God, right next to God, and God gave him the authority to rule this world with human, the people, his people, the saints. Anyway, so after that, Daniel was so confused. What is it all about? So he asked the man who showed the vision, I mean, the standing there in his dream, and he said, these four monster creatures are the four kingdoms which will arise in the future on earth. So it is the beast. We heard the Nebuchadnezzar who became like a beast when he was prideful and greedy, right? So this vision is showing anyone who trying to be a god, but not real god, then they became like a beast, right? So these four creatures is people say, yeah, Persia, Greece, and Rome, and until the last day. So those, actually, the first one is Babylon, and then Persia, and Greece, and then Rome. And so those four creatures. Anyway, so it's not, yeah, if you remember, that's fine. But just remember that the beasts are the one who trying to be God other than real God, right? Jinsa, do you have a question?
Not really a question, but I remember learning about this in like the QT.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And I
we had this.
remember
Yes.
like
Yeah.
referring
Like it was
to
like
it.
Daniel chapter 8 or something.
Yes, 7,
Yeah.
Daniel chapter F. Good,
The
good.
ram
You
and the
still remember.
goat, I think.
Oh, okay. So remember, anyone who wants to be like God become like beast, because they become greedy, prideful, violent, right? So just remember that. But at the end, this he heard this praise. Yeah, the saint of God's people will receive the kingdom and reign with him forever and ever. So all the last victories on only God alone. Yes, Claire, do you have a question?
You said we shouldn't try to be like God, but shouldn't we try to be like Jesus?
Oh, that's a good question. So, okay, I could answer you at the end. All right. So keep listen, keep holding that question. If I don't answer you, you can ask me again. All right. So let's keep going. All right. It was the end. Actually, it was a pray with the praise, and then he woke up with terrified, the fear, and he couldn't tell anyone because it's so scary. But he wrote down. So that's why we see the book of Daniel right now.
Pastor
Anyway,
Jean, I have
yes.
one question.
Okay, Daniel.
People clone animals and later they might clone people. And they're like they're acting like God. Is that like a beast?
Oh, that's a good question. You hold that question as well. I hope I could answer you. Okay, let's keep going. So Daniel was a true worshiper. Although he knew that he will put in a lion's den, he didn't stop. And God saved his people, the faithful one, right? To who didn't give up the heart for God. So that was the Daniel story. And then we learned the phrase of the son of man, right? It's from Daniel. And then it is Jesus. And we saw these four beast creatures, which try to be sit on God's position. All right, let's keep going. But God put him in a condemnation. So God killed him. God put him on a judgment. So no more only no more the beast world, but God's realm, God's world, continues forever and ever. That's Daniel's dream. So for us, okay, now I could probably answer your question. All right, let's thinking about all the way back Genesis 1 and 2. Okay, remember God created this a beast as well, right? That's animal. Beast is actually animal, but it became a beast with a bad intention and sin, right? So God created perfect world, like living human and beast all together. But this one particular beast, which is Satan, right? Deceived them, and then they ask human, do you want to be like God? Right? He tested and he deceived it. You're not gonna die. Just take it. And of course, they took the seed. I mean, they ate it, right? So they tried to be God. And then, Chloe, do you have a question? No? Okay. All right. So, all right. So they, as soon as they said on
I kind of do, but I kind
you can hold, you can wait. All right. All right. Okay. Let's keep going. So they said this, oh, they want to become like God. So they ate, and then God knew that they don't have the capability. So God kicked them out of the Garden of Eden, right? With the beast. Boom. But God is not mean God. Okay, that's it. Forget. We don't deal with this anymore. No, no, no. He promised this son of man, the man, right, from woman, and he will conquer, right? He will come back. So before he comes back, these people living in this beast world, because we are still under this darkness. So beasts try to do all those bad things. So people kill each other, violent each other. That's why we see this beast, right? So they are ruling whatever people's heart, and they try to capture people's heart. Before Jesus comes back, after Jesus comes back, Jesus became become on the human court as a final sacrificial lamb, and he got killed by these beasts. So first they thought, beast won this battle. Oh yeah, Jesus died. But that's not the end of story. Jesus actually overcame this curse of beast with his resurrection, right? So now he is really sitting on the right hand of God, and he will come, but now we don't have this scary beast or the threatening anymore because Jesus conquered the death. So we don't have this a death, but we are living still under this beast world, right? So we have to be mindful. Not just that, one day when the Son of Man, the Jesus, comes with a cloud, with a cloud, right, coming down, and we will have this no more beast world, but the kingdom of God forever and ever. When what the Daniel saw in his dream at the end, right? He was praising God. So this is the story. So Daniel's dream, it looks like a just scary monster nightmare, but it's more than that. It's actually whole the gospel is there. So whenever you see the Son of Man, think about Daniel and think about Jesus. Okay. So that is my story. Okay. Was it fun? Oh, sorry.